In this video we are going to rank all 9 of my completed LEGO castle armies, regarding which ones I like the most. As this is obviously a pretty subjective video, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people are going to disagree, so please feel free to comment your favorite factions. Some criteria I will be rating these factions on are the color scheme, the sigil, the overall print quality and print diversity, and lastly just simply how much I personally like them. I hope you'll enjoy it. Now, before we actually get into the ranking, let's have a look at a few factions that I just couldn't rank at all. Either because I simply do not have enough minifigures of them, or because LEGO only made one single version of them, which makes it really hard to army build some of these factions. First of all, we have the Scorpion Knights. In this case, I would only have enough figures to create one small group of them. However, I really like the heraldry of a black scorpion a lot. Unfortunately, they did release in a very lackluster time period of LEGO Castle. Next up we have the Wolf Pack. Again, I simply do not have enough of the new CMF to assemble a whole army of them. However, I like the new prints a lot. Next we have the Fantasy Dwarfs. I love the helmet design, but they do not really fit into my castle world. The Moon Knights are also one of my smaller factions, which I don't really consider a full army yet, but maybe we will see more of them in the future. The Skeletons are one of the factions where I have tons of them, but I'm still trying to figure out how to actually assemble a coherent army of them. Now coming to the new Fright Knights, or Basil the Bad Lord. I really love this minifigure and I have around 25 of them at the moment, but I'm not quite sure how to actually army build them, so they will probably join my full armies in the future. Lastly, in the non-ranking factions we have the Paladins from the D&D Dragon Paladin. Probably my favorite minifigure out of the last 10 years. The printing and armor is perfect and I have assembled around 45 of them. However, I'm unsure whether to make them into their own order, like a Paladin order, or include them into another army like the Crown Knights, for example. Now let's get actually into the ranking. In the last spot, on number 9, we have the new Lion Knights. This is actually one of my bigger armies with around 150 figures, but not necessarily because I like them, but because they are just really easy and cheap to get. I'm not a fan at all of the red, blue, gold combination because it is just too colorful in my opinion. In my opinion, knights should always have like some kind of color to offset the very colorful LEGO colors, for example gray, black or something else. Obviously they look very LEGO-like, but for me it's just too much. I have assembled a few different versions of them, like a Kingsguard and Crossbowman, but overall their color scheme just isn't for me. And their sigil is also pretty boring, especially in contrast to what we are going to see. Now, this was actually the only single faction that I don't like. Obviously, the next few factions aren't my favorites, but all of them have at least some elements I like a lot. Now, on the 8th place, we have the Blue Lions from Castle 2013. I really like their color scheme. The blue, gold, gray looks so much better than the newer Lion Knights. And another fact I really appreciate for army building is that they have 3 different printings on their torsos, which gives them a really nice variety when army building. Now, unfortunately, their biggest drawback can be seen on the Heavy Knights and Horse Barding, which is that their sigil looks really bad, even way worse than the new Lion Knights. However, I think the overall variety and the better color scheme still gives them the edge over the new Lion Knights. Place number 7 is probably going to be a bit controversial, but on number 7 we have the Black Falcons. Obviously their sigil is one of the coolest sigils of all the factions. I mean, a Black Falcon already sounds pretty cool, but unfortunately there are a lot of things I don't like. First of all, their color scheme is okay, but I don't really like the black helmets as they just don't look that real to me. Obviously they are Black Falcons, so they should have some aspects to them that is black, but their helmets being black just doesn't look real, especially in contrast to silver and pearl dark gray. Furthermore, the biggest drawback is that they only have one torso, except the Falconer CMF, which makes it not that fun to army build them. However, they are still far superior to the new Lion Knights. Maybe in the future, when LEGO actually releases more Black Falcon torsos, they can climb a few places in my list. Next on number 6 we have the Crown Knights. Even though their printing is a little old-fashioned as they are one of the older factions, I still really like the variety, and as the Lion Knights from 2013, they also have 3 different printings, which is always really nice to have. In contrast to the Blue Lions, however, their sigil does not look completely trash. Even though it is a little simple, it still looks nice, especially on the Horse Barding. I don't really like the printing on the heavy knights as it is a bit too simple, but I mixed in all of my heroic knights into the army and they actually matched the color scheme really well. Not my favorite faction, but a very solid one. Now, number 5 might be a bit surprising considering how much I didn't like the Castle 2013 Lion Knights, but on number 5 we have the Red Dragons from Castle 2013. They profit from all the nice printing we got during that era, but without the horrendous sigil. Their black helmets match them a lot better than they do the Black Falcons in my opinion, as it makes them look properly evil. They are especially awesome as you can integrate dragons into their army. I also love the archers you can create with their backwards bodies, as the back printing is very versatile. This is the first faction that doesn't really have any big flaw in my opinion, but there are just 4 factions that are better in some of these categories. Their armor and horse barding looks really menacing with beautiful prints overall. But if I had one wish regarding this faction, it would be another chestplate design and maybe a better leg print. Coming to number 4, it might be a little biased considering the rating criteria I mentioned in the beginning, but on number 4 we have the Red Falcons. Obviously they share a similarly cool sigil to the Black Falcons, but their color scheme and printing is just far superior in my opinion. Their silver looks great and matches well with other castle themed prints in general. The commander I made for them uses the Castle 2013 Lion Knights legs and is probably one of my favorite minifigures ever. For his right hand man I used the absurdly expensive Fright Knight torso, which is probably the best generic knight torso you can buy, and looks awesome for almost all minifigures. I also used it for all of my heavy Red Falcon infantry. The only drawbacks this faction has is that they unfortunately don't have any horse bardings and don't have matching leg prints. If LEGO releases these, I can easily see them taking the number 2 spot on my list. Let's now get into my top 3 favorite factions. I love all of these factions, and in my opinion these are the 3 best factions LEGO ever made. On number 3 we have the LEGO Fantasy Trolls. First of all, I love that LEGO introduced fantasy elements into their castle world, as it is just a lot of fun to experiment with different elements. The LEGO Trolls have a very unique helmet in terms of shape and texture. They also come in different colors and the trolls have different prints. I also included my second favorite CMF of all time, the CMF Troll, into this army, as they just fit very well together. My favorite part of the trolls, however, is the Troll Big Fix. Not only did they create an awesome figure for sieges and battles, but they also made several different variants of this. The basic one is already a very cool figure and would have earned them like the 5th spot on this list, but they also made one in tan, and in my opinion the coolest variants are the trolls with special markings on their armor. This makes it actually possible to easily create different ranks even within these big figs. Overall, the trolls are in the top 3 due to their creativity, variety and awesome big figs. Number 2 is in my opinion the best normal good guys army, the LEGO Kingdoms Lion Knights. LEGO Kingdoms is just the golden era for LEGO Castle, and has brought us the most beautiful knights and sets this theme has ever seen. To begin with, the sigil looks great, and even though it isn't the most creative one when it comes to which animal it is using, due to the gold and very detailed line work it looks awesome, and actually pretty similar to House Lannister in Game of Thrones, which I also find quite nice. There are many different printings on these minifigures, including very detailed leg printing. My favorite part, however, are the mounted knights. The quality of horse barding printing and the details of their armor and shields simply surpasses even the newer LEGO knights. The color scheme looks great, but not too realistic, so that it still feels like LEGO. And we even got 2 different horse bardings, which is also very unique. Additionally, the theme gave us the best king minifigure we have ever gotten, even with his own unique chestplate and leg printing. Overall, just a beautiful faction and only surpassed by one other. Now, on number 1 we have the best castle faction LEGO has ever produced. And if you have been paying attention, you know exactly that there is only one faction left. The LEGO Kingdoms Green Dragons. Now these minifigures are just the holy grail of LEGO Castle. You have as beautiful of printing as with the Kingdom Lion Knights, but with an even better color scheme and the coolest sigil of all the factions. Matching to the normal green dragons, I also used the CMF Bear Knights as they match perfectly with them. Using their body as a base, I assembled a whole group of rangers using Pearl Dark Grey helmets. The Pearl Dark Grey matches the minifigures perfectly and gives them a much more realistic look as the Black Falcons, for example. Unfortunately, these helmets are absurdly expensive in large quantities, and I've probably spent hundreds of euros on the helmets alone, but some sacrifices must be made. Where the Green Dragons shine even more than all of the other factions, however, are the Mounted Knights and Heavy Knights. Their horse barding looks beautiful, but their chest plates are some of the best printed LEGO pieces I have ever seen. The printed shining bronze lines look perfect with the gold and pearl dark grey and just give them such a unique look. Overall, the Green Dragons are my favorite faction by far and also my biggest, as they are simply some of the best minifigures LEGO has ever produced. Which is probably also the reason they are as expensive on the aftermarket as they are. Now, thank you very much for watching my video, and I hope you have a great rest of the day.